Hey, welcome to End of Season Report. I am Crunk Chocolate. EOSR is part of Shades of Blues content season, bringing you an episode every other day throughout the summer where, the podcast, some other, they take a break, holiday vacation, which, respect, understandable. But we're just out here continuing the wave of content for you, shady gang. The end of season report is where I bring a correspondent from each club in the Premier League, and we talk about the 2023-24 campaign. There are 5 categories: kits, manager, squad, supporters, and season. Each category will be graded on the American grading scale, and naturally, we will dissect the rating. Sounds easy enough? No. Today's guest for a conversation about Wolverhampton. Oh man, I'm super excited. It's been a while since we've chatted with the homie. It was just the last time we faced him. Actually, no, I think that fell through then. That's my fault. And so, yes. Oh, first time?
It was the first time. This season it was before the first matchup when Wolves
Yes.
actually won.
Oh man, yes, get that in there. Oh man, but a fantastic show. Honestly, I connected with them early on in SOB and been able to stay linked with them ever since. Honestly, they are, to me, the preeminent Wolverhampton podcast, and I won't let anybody tell me differently.
Appreciate it.
Shady gang. Show some love for the homely Josh Buckley.
Thank you, Crunk Chocolate. It's great to be back, as always, on this show. I always think, am I going to keep my mouth from being too dirty this show?
No, go
And
for it.
then
Let's
I
have some
think,
fun.
and this is going to be a running topic until probably you guys get rid of him this summer. But I got to start off by saying, fuck Matthias Nunes.
Hey, and I'm pretty sure you said that the last time you were on.
I said that numerous times the last time, and if he somehow makes it on your squad next year, it will also be fuck Matthias Nunes, and he could probably hear because his big ears like they kind of wobble. It's like the movie Quiet Place. You know how
Oh
they
no.
hear everything.
Oh, no,
Yeah, Nunes is a
Nunes.
spy from the Quiet Place.
Yeah, well, if only he could play football a little bit better. It's I was not.
I told y'all.
You did.
I told you, boy.
You did.
We bamboozled Manchester City. Not only did we get a profit on him, we got Tommy Doyle for £5 million from you guys. And then I read today that if you guys make some kind of profit on Nunes, which highly unlikely, but you never know with the Saudis involved. If they do, Wolves get 10% of that profit too. Like this
we gave you guys a 10% also?
10% on profit only. On profit only. I know. I read that today. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow.
Now, none of us are expecting any money because with the amount you guys invested,
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
and let's be honest, Wolves won that first game because he was so rattled in that first half in Molyneux. It was just spectacular.
Man, when I saw his name, I knew it was going to be so bad. It was Pep does this. He does this lately because he did it also Jack at Aston Villa and they booed him the fuck off the pitch also. It's just I get why you do it. You think he's going to stand up for the moment and sure, I bet the first 5 minutes he was on it. But you're just getting booed so vociferously. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Well, and he wasn't a strong mental guy anyways. I mean, you could just tell. I mean, he got subbed off at halftime.
Yeah.
That's
I'm pretty sure Jack did too on his first visit back to Aston Villa. I feel like there are a couple of players that when they face their old Premier League club, they haven't done the best. And
but see, Grealish left on pretty good terms, whereas Nunes stopped training just like right
Yeah.
after a game. It was like, nah,
And that
screw
wasn't
you
a good
guys. I'm not going
sign.
to Man City.
And that wasn't a good sign. It did not make me excited about him
Mm-hmm.
coming. And I legitimately was like, he's excess. And he looked like it. And
Mm-hmm.
what I say
Yeah.
to people all the time, his best little run that he had this season, people wanted him to be as a winger, and he's a midfielder. They were
Yeah.
like, put him
Yeah.
out on the wing. And it
We
was like,
tried him at the wing. That doesn't work either.
I know, but
And
also it's just
straight up, Tommy Doyle would have been a far superior player for you guys. And
wow.
we got him from Manchester City for
For
£5
pennies.
million. And honestly, Wolves fans are expecting within 3 years for Tommy Doyle to be captain of Wolves.
Oh,
That's how
that's what
much
he's
he
doing.
improved and the potential he has.
Oh wow.
We're hoping, maybe in the preseason he gets a little bit more time to see if he can be a number 10. But yeah, he's really great in the midfield. So precise with his passes. Like, what a steal of a deal. That's our best transfer business since Raul.
Yeah, we've basically shipped both of the Doyles off for peanuts, honestly. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy. And I mean, it's just part of being a City fan, honestly. It's just like, hey,
I
any
mean, look,
young
you guys
player
won
that
the
we
titles, so can you really complain? It's like, yeah, whatever. We wasted
yeah, and
56 million.
yeah, yes. And like I said, it just every season there are like 2 to 3 young players who go away that we know we're never gonna see again, and we just
Hmm.
kind of watch from afar and root for them.
It could
And
be
like it,
worse. It could be worse. You could have signed Jaden Sancho like United did.
I mean, technically, we were the ones who sent him away. We had him. He was a part of our academy, and we were like, "Goodbye, have fun." There's actually a video from a long time ago. It was Foden. He was being subbed in for Jadon Sancho, and the players always hit the hand. And Sancho
Hmm.
was so mad that he was being subbed off, he actually just walked past Foden and ignored him. And Foden was just like, bro, what was that for? Like, I'm not. All I'm doing is being subbed on. Like, we're 13. Like, what are you doing? And
so
so
so I'm interested with that because it seems several times that Kevin De Bruyne wanted to murder Pep when he was being taken off, and I know uh, Holland wasn't pleased when he was getting taken off against Wolves, which I get it. I would have wanted to score 5 goals too. But every time it seemed like I was watching De Bruyne get pulled, he's like pissed off at Pep. And they still won. Man, that's good stuff.
he wants it. That at least that's what Pep said.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
you want your players to be mad and want to get off, and I think part of him loves it because because that's what you have to do as a manager. Unfortunately, you have to
Hmm.
like keep that fire burning. You have to
Yeah.
want players to still be hungry.
Yeah. Yeah. Out of my non-Wolves players, I'd say De Bruyne and Holland are both in my top 5 to watch. Like, just fun players. Fun
Shout out,
players.
shout out, shout out. Well, I mean, Wolves have some fun players, and we'll get
Hmm.
to it. And I mean, it's now 9 minutes into the episode, and I am about to ask you to introduce yourself and let people know a little bit more about Whole
My
Lotta Wolves.
bad. My bad. I totally
No,
got
this
off
isn't bad.
script
This
as
is a fun
usual.
conversation. No, this is vibe. This is the summer. I have nothing to do. This is just relax. We're talking.
Yep, yep. So Joshua Buckley from Whole Lot of Wolves. That's
Hey,
WLW Pod on Twitter. And yeah, we just finished our 4th season of the podcast. Going to be heading into season 5, and just it's an exciting time. Wolves had a interesting season. A lot of potential, just didn't have a lot of depth, and so a little shaky at the end. But we're hoping for good times here this next season. We're feeling okay. there, there's reasons to feel really good, and there's reasons where people are protesting the club. So it is what it is.
Oh, see, I don't know anything about a protest, so I'm interested to
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
through this.
So that's what happens when the season tickets they
Oh,
raised by
prices. Okay.
17% for adults, which look, Crunk, we're we're Americans, right? we're used to season ticket increases, 17%. All right. The problem was they raised kids and handicap tickets by like 250%.
Holy.
So that was part of the issue. And then the chairman came out and wrote this letter that started off comparing Wolves to Three Body Problem. I don't know if you've watched that on Netflix, but interesting choice. And then said, well, if winning trophies and competing for Europe every year is what you like, then Wolves probably aren't for you. So
Okay,
your
so
face says it all.
I think I know what their grade is gonna be when we get to the end of it.
Yeah. When I saw it was, board chairman grade. Yeah, I got some thoughts. I have some thoughts.
Let's go. Okay, well, we'll get started. We get started with kits, and
Kit.
their home, that very specific. What is it? Old gold.
Old gold. Old
Old
gold.
gold.
So this
Yes.
was. I felt like this may have been their best old gold kit since they come back up to the
Oh.
Premier League, because it had very subtle black striping
Yeah.
down. I
Uh-huh.
thought the Astro Pay logo didn't look too awful. Um, and then the collar looked great with the black and white going through. So I bought one of those. I'd give that one, man, I'd give it an A+. It was just a really
Oh,
sharp
let's
kit this year.
go.
So the away kit was like this bright red,
Yes.
and they didn't wear it too often, as is usually the case with Wolves in their away kits. Um, it was unique, but it didn't
Yeah.
really say like Wolves to it. I'd
No.
probably give that one a B minus. B minus. I think that'd be fair.
Okay.
Maybe a B. The third kit, the ice cold one, which had like shapes on it to represent Molyneux, which was really cool. But they wore that a lot more than the away kit this year, and those look sharp. Still not my favorite of the third kits, but it was up there. So I would give that one a B+.
Yeah, that third kit, the ice kit, it's a fun wild one. And yeah, this red kit, yeah.
You've seen the red kit, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's so that's the thing with Castore,
Uh
because
huh.
they also make rugby kits, and honestly, the red one kind of looks like a rugby kit to me. And
Yeah,
Castore,
yeah,
they
I
kind
think
of do
that's good.
that, the shape and the build, and just because rugby kits, they're not, I mean, some do depending on leagues, but for the most part, most leagues, their kits are pretty just like tame and simple, like sleek traditional lines and things like that. They don't get too crazy, and so this away, it feels like a crazy version of a rugby kit.
Hmm. So you want crazy rugby kit, right? I'm gonna send you the leaked photo of Wolves away kit next year.
Oh no, I see it. The black one with like the literal wolf on it.
The literal wolf on it. Yes.
A literal wolf
Um.
on it. It's crazy.
Look, it looks ridiculous. I'll probably buy
I mean,
it.
I'm kind of with you. It kind of looks like a decal a really fast car that drives past you would have on it.
I think what's really bad is the new sponsor is DBet, which is an illegally operated sports book in Taiwan.
Oh,
Yeah, they have two followers on Twitter, so there's that. Yeah, I know. I can't joke about Man City
oh my
funneling in
gosh.
money with their
Well,
sponsors when
and
we
if
got
we're
that
being
nonsense
honest,
going.
this is I joke, but I'm very serious when I say this to people all the time. But there's so much that people get away with now, and that's because of City. Like people, like one of the 115 charges is sketch sponsorships, and there are so many sketch sponsors nowadays, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
just like
yeah.
all the things that we're getting in trouble for, we've just set a precedent for you guys, and you were able to play with the laws
Mhm.
and the loopholes that they try to shut down for us. So I jokingly say, "You're welcome, Premier League, for all of this because it
But see,
really is us."
at least Man City did it in a tactful way. They just owned the company who was, um, providing
Yes,
the sponsorship. We got
yes.
some illegal. We found a big interesting
Hey,
piece
it
on it.
might
So
be some of your money from offshore funds anyway, so it still
I
might
mean,
be
look,
your money.
I'm in the sports gambling marketing business,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
like legal, legislated sports gambling.
That is the correct thing to
Mhm.
say. Good
That's
job.
right.
Sounds
That's
like a
right.
pro. Okay. Well, the manager, Gary O'Neill, in his first season leading Wolverhampton after Julian Lopetegu's run leading the club, he's now back in the Premier League. And so before we get to O'Neill, any words of wisdom for West Ham supporters who have employed your old
um,
work?
yeah, you better hope that Lopetegui wasn't promised a transfer budget that then is not going to be delivered, because then he's going to pout and take his ball and go home, which is essentially what happened at Wolves. Look, did he have a right to do it? I understand where he's coming from, but he also basically just said, these players are shit. I can't compete with them. So deuces. And
Mm.
that really motivated the team this year. I would say at least probably the first 3/4 of the year, that thinking motivated this Wolf squad, because they weren't shit. It was a good
No.
team.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they
So as
have
far
some
as
hot
Gary
players.
O'Neill, A, A, and the only reason he doesn't get an A+ in my book is because they did stumble down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll get into that. That wasn't all his fault. I mean, here's a guy came in 5 days before the season started after being let go by Bournemouth. So we weren't feeling too confident. And then what do you know? I mean, in March, we were legit thinking Europe. We were in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, if not for just a ridiculous string of injuries. We could have been in either of those.
Mm.
So Gary O'Neill has very interesting tactics that he does, which is good. He's not afraid to try stuff, and this was our best scoring season since coming back to the Premier League.
Oh,
So
shout out
actually
to
scoring
you.
goals was
Okay.
super awesome. We're not used to that.
It is nice to experience goals. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
It
You
is.
have guys who single-handedly score teams, and you have one guy who single-handedly outscores teams. So I would enjoy that as well.
Uh, it is a very fun experience. Yes. 10 out of 10 would recommend for sure.
We would have
Um,
had a lot more if VAR hadn't fucked us over so
Yes,
many times.
VAR. And hey, I mean, I want to say shout out to Wolves for their attempt and their phrasing of why we should scrap VAR, because you came at it not at the whole, hey, it screws clubs over. It's, hey, this thing makes you guys look bad. It makes you look silly. People aren't talking about the game, they're talking
Mhm.
about the refs in VAR. And do you want people to do that? And
The
I was like,
refs say yes, because the refs are all about them.
oh
I
yeah.
always laugh. I know you have that Packers flag back there, so you obviously like the NFL. And I always get a joke out of everybody saying, "Oh, the NFL officiating so awful." It's like, "Oh, you do not follow overseas soccer. Let me tell you,
Yeah,
I will
no, it's
take NFL officiating every day over those EPL a holes."
well, because with the NFL now, it really does feel like sometimes the stuff is scripted. And and just with English, the Premier League, it just feels like incompetence.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
like it
It
doesn't
is.
even feel like it's scripted. It just feels like they're silly.
And one thing that we've talked about on our podcast is it feels like by employing English referees, everybody in England has a club. There are biases that are like ingrained in them from birth. And so who was it? It was Nottingham Forest that was all ticked off because a Luton
Yeah.
fan was on VAR.
Uh-huh.
Like that's legit. That's legit. And you know, we lost, I think, 12 points to VAR, where we actually got apologies or people that were like, no, you got hosed. 12 points. 12 points. That sucks. Let me tell you.
No, it's not great. It's not great.
No, it's not great. It is not great. If we had those 12 points, well, just on points, we would have been in 8th, but we also got those would have had those against Manchester United and Newcastle, so we would have been in Europe this year. But it is what it is,
Hey, I'm looking forward to watching what y'all can do next season because I
So
want
Gary
all
O'Neill,
the disruptors.
I hope that a bigger club doesn't come for Gary O'Neill next summer. The fact that Manchester United was like, "Oh, we want you, but as an assistant coach." No, go fuck yourselves. Yeah, screw those guys. I'm a little worried that when Southgate leaves after the Euros, they may target somebody like Gary O'Neill. So we are concerned. He's a great manager, though. I really like him.
I mean, I'm gonna pay him much more attention next season. There are a few set of managers that I'm like, well, because we have such a new flush of like new managers, so I'm gonna have to really look into these guys and see how they work and how they move because Pep is officially the old guy at the Premier League now. So it's interesting thinking of Pep that way. I mean, it's been 8 years, and that's crazy to think.
That's like 50 years in EPL years.
And he said it at the beginning of the parade. He was like, "It's 8 years, yeah, and that sounds like a long time, but it's just success, man. Like, like I'm only here because we're winning. Like, then that's how it works.
100%.
Yeah, you love the realness. Well, let's move to the squad because you got some young ballers, lots of promise on this team, and I am intrigued to see or to hear from you the players that you're excited about because I think you have a lot to be excited about. So what is
we do. We have a ton to be excited about. Yeah. And the problem was come March, we were missing like 6 of our starting 11 because of injuries and had a 15-year-old who was called out a science test from the academy to practice because he was on the bench that weekend. Kind of says the situation right there. But our player of the year that we voted on was Mario Lemina. And he's a name that you may know from him playing with Southampton, kind of over there, had a spell in France. He came to Wolves and really added a toughness to them.
Yeah, led the team in yellow cards.
But he scored some great goals this year, some really important goals. He's a really good leader, leads by example for that team. And it felt like one of those guys who he finally found a home. He found his place in Wolverhampton, and you could see it. Wolves went ahead and got his younger brother on loan with an option in January. So I fully expect Mario Lemina to be there full time. So as a grade wise, I mean, he's an A player. Other A players I'd give Matheus Cunha. Started out a little slow and then picked up, and he was tremendous. He's our 42 million pound. He classifies as a striker. He's not a true number 9, but he's just really creative, has some great goals, and he's also somebody that's really he's embraced being a part of Wolverhampton. There are guys that come in and they go, well, this is a step ladder. Dumbo being one of them. Matheus Nunes hasn't come in with that. He's come in with, hey, I'm going to be a leader on this team. So we love him. He had a hamstring injury for a while, and that just proved how much our team relies on him. just creating a lot of stuff. The other guy who started out really good, went off for the Asia Cup, came back, wasn't really the same, got hurt again, and that was Hwang Hee-chan.
Oh, the Korean guy.
That Korean guy, God, I love. Man, Pep set us up brilliantly for that first game. Started Dumbo and called him that Korean guy. That was great.
It was just because, do you want him with that accent to try to say Hwang Hee-chan?
No, I want him to say that Korean guy because it worked out fantastic. So if you take away his injuries, I'd probably say a B plus just because he wasn't the same before the Asia Cup or after the Asia Cup that he was before the Asian Cup. But it's a good signing for us. Good depth. He plays on the wing. He can move inside. A lot more confident this year, so that was good. My favorite player is actually João Gomez, who has made Brazil's squad for the tournament in the U.S. This summer. João Gomez, he's only 23 years old. He is a mean son of a bitch. He loves to get in there and get dirty. He's not going to add very many goals or assists, but if he loses the ball, chances are he's going to get it back with a tackle. And we call him the pit bull because that's what he is. He's like a tenacious. He's almost like a little gnat, just always on you. And so we talk about how frustrating it must be for opponents to go against Gomez and Lamina. I mean, that's pretty tough in the midfield. He's an A- guy for me. And hopefully we can keep him for one more year. I think he is pretty smart and realizes the amount of playing time he gets at Wolverhampton is going to help him start for Brazil come World Cup time. I think he's that good of a player. So I expect him to stay for a little bit. The other real standout guy, and then I'll kind of move on just briefly about some of these, are Rayan Aït-Nouri. Fantastic at left back this year. He was like, he must have run over Lopetegui's dog or something because he barely make it in there. And then he comes, and you could make an argument for, I mean, he was definitely a top 3 left back in the EPL. Yeah. Really creative. He almost has the creativity of a winger who actually plays left back. This is how bad it, Crunk. This is how bad it was with injuries. Our starting left wing back, played number 9 at one point this season. Wow. We had so many injuries.
Oh, wow.
Who does that?
Oh, that sounds stressful. That does sound stressful. That sounds too stressful.
So Aït-Nouri's fantastic. There's going to be a lot of offers for him. Wolves own...
Yes, most definitely.
Rangers actually own a 50% sell-on fee with Aït-Nouri. However, Wolves can buy that out for $10 million. So the offer, they won't get rid of him unless the offer is at least £30 million, but probably more. I mean, he's a good $40 million value player, I feel like.
Hold on to him. Yeah,
really
he's good.
Yeah.
Another
Pedro Neto, I know you guys are looking at him. Pedro Neto is amazing when he's healthy.
Yeah, I was going to say pass.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you guys are going to give us 60 mil for him.
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
And he would be worth 60 mil if he didn't have hamstrings that were made out of chewing gum. It's a little difficult. He's a superstar when he's healthy. I'll say that. And he's a nasty little SOB getting in there. He's kind of got that Grealish type attitude where I know you guys hate me and I'm going to play into that. So, like him, Jose Sa had a solid year at keeping this year. Really good shot stopper. There's always one or two of those times each game where it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? So, it is what it is. That's a Wolves keeper for you. Nelson Semedo, solid year at right back. Good chance he goes to Saudi this summer. I think that'll be okay. Pablo Sarabia, came off the bench, had to start a little bit on there. He had a couple moments of brilliance. Other times you wouldn't even know he's in the game. I said he's a jack of all trades and a master of none. That's kind of what I thought with Sarabia. But he's the highest played Wolves player, so I can kind of see them getting rid of him this summer. We got Jean Bellegarde, or as I call him, the Bellegardian of the Galaxy. He's somebody that we use that Dumbo money to get. He's going to be an interesting guy to watch on the wing next year. A lot of speed. And, of course, Tommy Doyle. Tommy Doyle. I give an A- to Tommy Doyle because you have to factor in how much we were paying for him, which was nothing. And then getting him for £5 million. So he's only 22. A lot of people excited about Tommy Doyle. Like I said, he'll be team captain at Wolverhampton in 3 to 4 years, in my opinion.
Wow. And that's exciting for y'all. Yeah, that's exciting for y'all. So, yeah, I mean, obviously excited about him. I want nothing to do with Pedro Neto. Like, respect, like, your...
No, it's understandable.
Yeah, like, he does look great. Very talented. But, yeah, the injuries do scare me. It's the same reason why I'm kind of nervous about the two players from Crystal Palace. I mean, I guess I would take Eze maybe. I don't know, but that's what I'm saying.
I love it. Just
it scares me. It scares
the difference in Manchester City. I'd take Eze, I guess. It's like, fuck, man, I would give a testicle for him.
And João Gomez,
you stay away from João Gomez. You stay away.
I was just going to show him some love, not send his information to my people, which I may have already done. But anyway, he leads Wolverhampton in tackles in the defensive, midfield, and the attacking third.
Yeah.
Leads Wolverhampton in all of those things. He actually leads them in everything, in tackles won, and tackles overall. Yeah, he's a beast.
And he enjoys that too. He'll always retweet his highlights of just tackles. Like, it's great.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, he's fun. And you know what's the thing with him is he's a good guy too. He's really loyal. He's loyal to Wolverhampton right now. I do think whichever route makes it easier for him to make it a full-time starter on Brazil is the route where he'd go. I do still think for this next World Cup, that's Wolves, because he's going to start every game as opposed to going somewhere where you're starting a third of the time. A deep team like Man City. I mean, he'd be great for you guys, but you're not going to bench Rodri for him.
No.
Yeah. So, João Gomez he's got a piece of my heart.
Oh, that's good to hear then. All right, well, we'll keep it moving to supporters. Great how understanding and supportive the general fan has been in the 23-24 campaign.
Wolves Twitter can be a toxic cesspool at times. Love it. I will say for a lot of the season, it was obviously a rough start. You know, we had flames and pitchforks because until Nunes was signed, we were doing jack shit in the signing window. That kind of got us going a little bit. But the supporters were very frustrated with the lack of transfer activity. And I'll go into that when we're talking about the chairman. Everybody was really supportive of the players themselves because they knew those guys were shit on by Lopetegui. And that wasn't fair. And you watch them, even when they're down 2-3 goal, man, these guys busted their butts. And that's Wolverhampton is that type of city where it's hard-nosed underdogs. And that's exactly the way these guys played, which we hadn't done that in a couple years. So to get back to that level of play was really exciting. Then the supporters bought in. The one reason I would give the supporters knocked them down a grade was because I felt like they were being unfair to Gary O'Neill the last month of the season. I mean, he had no depth. He was just trying to figure out stuff, and even when the squad got healthy, they're banged up. Or some of those guys, Maximilian Kilman played every minute for Wolves at center back this year. Every
Wow.
minute. Some of
Shout out
those
to
guys
him.
were just exhausted, and I was a little put back for some of them. Oh, we need to get rid of Gary O'Neill. It's another loss. No, it's not. So I would give the fans a solid B. Um, they definitely appreciate this year's squad for the most part. And I know Twitter's just a small
Yeah.
demographic. I will say our fans do really well on the road as far as the support, and you can hear the cheers a lot. Unless we're down
Hmm.
4-0 to Manchester City, it gets a little quieter. Um, excuse me, 4-1. But yeah, so I'd give them a solid B just because they can get a little cranky at times.
I mean, a solid B, that's good, you know.
I think so. I give them a lot of credit, man. Look, it's Wolverhampton is what it is, right? The squad is what it is. We know we're
Exactly.
not Manchester City, and fans need to embrace that. If fans think it's going to be Manchester City, well, we're not. The chairman of. Well, I'll get into the chairman.
Hey, and we can get right into it. The last category of the episode, season, grade the club and the board directors performance in the 23-24 campaign.
So look, we were kind of up shit creek without a paddle in FFP. Um, we knew it as fans. We didn't want to acknowledge how bad the situation was,
Mm,
but we've made a lot of bad signings over the last few years. Dumbo being one of them.
sure.
Giancarlo Guedes, who's just he's off on loan. Fabio Silva off on loan. Like three of our top five earners were out on loan because they were shit
Oh wow.
or were hurt. It's just little frustrating. So basically it went from okay, we're gonna have to be careful in our funds to well, we're gonna have to sell to buy, and then we sold Neves to Saudi Arabia. We're like, sweet, we have the money. Well, no, we're not gonna be able to spend any of that because of FFP. And it got to the fact of the only people we can get are on a free. So at one point heading into the season, the only signing Wolves had made was Matt Doherty to be the backup. So we were a little bit nervous. Obviously,
Wow.
Man City bailed out Wolves, and so we were able to make the additions, getting Bellegarde, getting Doyle, getting Santi Bueno, and
Wow.
getting Mateus Nunes's wages off the books. Um, I don't know the situation Wolves would be if we had kept that scummy. Um, so yeah, thanks. The boy, they really bailed us out.
Wow.
Um, and so it got to the point where wow, come January, we're looking really good. Europe looks a possibility, but we need a like a number 9 in there. And okay, it's going to happen. And in fact, then we let Sasha Kalajic go, and we let Fabio Silva go, both out on loans. And we're like, well, they've got to have somebody lined up. Transfer window came and went. Nobody came in. It was Mario Lamina's little brother who didn't see a minute for the squad. Is just a youth kid, anyways. Um, so that ticked off a lot of fans. And what we've kind of been told is that was straight up the chairman's decision, and we were already clear in FFP. That ultimately ended up costing Wolves a lot of money because it probably cost us at least 2 spots in the table, maybe as many as 3 or 4.
Mm.
Um, just because, like I said, in March we're bringing in a kid who's taking a science test at the academy to be on the bench. I mean, that's absurd. When half your starting lineup has numbers in the 50s and higher,
Yeah, it's not a good sign.
it's not a good sign.
Especially in the Premier League. It's not great.
Not great, Bob. Not great. And so, okay, we were told this summer heading in, hey, things are gonna be better. We don't necessarily have to sell to buy, but we all were kind of thinking, okay, Pedro Neto's, stuff going out. Now we don't know what's going on. The chairman has raised season ticket prices, which the 18% that they raised for the adult season ticket prices, as an American, I look at that and go, it's not horrible. But they raised kids and handicap prices by 150 to 250%. And the chairman basically, well, not basically, he said, if you want to, if you like trophies and like competing for Europe, Wolves may not be for you. As somebody who spends a lot of time investing in trying to get Wolves and like American Wolves fans, that's a real kick in the nuts, man. I'm not gonna lie. And they're coming to the US this summer, and we've been like volunteering hours to help. And our committee kind of just like came to a little bit of a halt there because we're like, what are we doing? Like, if the chairman's saying this. Wow. So, as far as chairman Jeff Shee, he gets a D minus. And the only reason I'm not giving him an F is because he did get us out of FFP. I give Manchester City's board an A for really bailing us out.
Happy to help, friend. Happy to help.
It would have been way worse.
You're welcome.
No, yeah. No. Thank you for taking Matheus Nunes off of our hand. I'm serious. I don't know. It would have been bad. It would have been really bad just because he was a cancer, and we managed to get depth and get him out and get the wages off. But every time you think, all right, now's the time, now's the chance. Any reasonable Wolves fan is not asking the club to spend $35 million plus in a player again. They tried that. They got Guedes, they got Nunes, and they fucking sucked. I don't want that again. All right. I want the João Gomez's, who we got for 18 million pounds and are fantastic. Mario Lemina, 8 million pounds. Tommy Doyle, 5 million pounds. Those are the guys to target, those lower price guys that can develop, and then eventually you can sell them on. Even Craig Dawson, I think, was 4 million pounds. But it's a little disheartening when the chairman's like, we're not going to really get anybody.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, if you want to win things, we aren't the team for you. Like, that's
who does that, Crunk? Can you imagine an NFL owner coming out and saying, look, guys, if you like making the playoffs, this might not be the team.
I've heard about tempering expectations, but that is just like, wow.
The letter ran in the newspaper. It ran in the newspaper.
He spent money to be like, hey, chill out, fans.
I was like, I can only imagine. I was in PR for a while in marketing. I can only imagine being in the marketing and PR department when you saw that and we're like, oh my God. Knowing you're coming to the US this summer too. It's like, geez. So yeah, Chairman Shee, big D minus. Would have been an F if we were facing FFP stuff again this summer.
Luckily bailed himself out. Wow.
Man City, yeah, you can credit that bump up from Manchester City.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, Shady Gang, one more time, please give it up for our guest.
Thank you, Crunk. I hope I didn't go too far over the time limit for you.
No. There isn't a time limit. We've had
all right. That's what I like to hear.
It's funny. We've had episodes as short as like 25, 22 minutes. We've had episodes as long as like one went like 70, 72 minutes.
Was that you and an Arsenal guy arguing or something?
No. Okay. So I actually try to do a decent job at, I don't argue with my guests, but I will slide in little jabs.
As you should.
Yes. As you should. So, I'll like when I'll explain their manager or Arteta, I'll have some fun with how I describe them. And
you want to, so I don't mind Arteta. But he did say at one point this year, well, Arsenal's has the least depth of any team in the EPL. Go fuck You're so
1,000%. 1,000%.
every
Because
one of the non-Big Six teams are like, "Are you kidding me? Like, get out of here." But I'd still take Arteta every day over that smiling jackass who's finally leaving Liverpool. Thank God. I hate Liverpool so much. I just hate Klopp. Hate the fans more. Yeah, just Klopp, most punchable face in the EPL, voted
hey,
on by a lot of Wolves.
Sharpie, or not Sharpie, Tarek would agree with you. Tarek hates Liverpool. That is his number one team. He's like, I know I should hate United the most, but I don't. It's Liverpool.
Mm-mm. It's Liverpool. United is what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
they're just
right.
kind of
They got to take
half those
themselves
fans are
seriously before we
bandwagon
can hate
guys
them.
anyways, so it's fine.
Yeah. And Arne, like he's gotta prove himself to me before I give them any real energy this year. So it's yeah, I think all my hate's just gonna go to Arsenal this year.
That's fair. That's fair. You got to have
Yeah.
somebody, right?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I don't really want to go out United. Chelsea, they still got a lot of work to do. I like if anything, I might if Newcastle doesn't get their shit together because naturally when they got their new ownership, I was calling them our oil brothers, you know.
Which they were.
Yes. But with their lack of success and the way that they're crumbling, they went from like being oil siblings to oil cousins, and now they're just like in the oil neighborhood. So
How
it's
are
like
they though? The one oil-backed company team that's like in FFP issues. All the
I,
other ones figure a way out. And these guys, uh, it's like as soon as Sandro Tonali was found out for being
yeah, it was just downhill
total
from there.
a, a total cheat. I love that where he pushes the guy in the sidelines like in the 93rd minute to get a yellow card, and they go, "Wait a minute, something looks amiss."
Yeah, it's not great.
Regulated markets, folks. That's the way.
Yeah, yay, and I'm sure you could definitely help us with that. Give us a good little lesson, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Please plug yourself, plug the pod, let people know where they can find you in the show.
Yeah, sure. I'm Josh Buckley again. You can find me on Twitter at Joshua Buckley, Buckley. Part of Whole Lot of Wolves. We're going to be
Yeah.
entering season 5 coming up in July as we get ready for Wolves coming to America. They're going to be playing in Jacksonville in July. I don't think they know what they're in store for. And then they're coming up to Baltimore, which is a game most of us are going to because, while we are going to need the gold bond in Baltimore and Indianapolis, not as much as we would in Jacksonville, which is
Oh,
going to be
1,000%.
miserable.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you can find us on Twitter, WLW Pod. We're also on Spotify, Apple Tunes, anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. That's Whole Lotta Wolves.
Hey. Well, Shady Gang, you know the vibes. I will be back in a couple of days with another most dope guest having another fantastic conversation about football. And until then, you know the vibes. Shady Gang, Shady Gang, Shady Gang.
And fuck the